Help! Help! They got me up here today in the Car Connection Workshop. Welcome, friends, and glad to have you here. You are in for the treat of your life today. What was the treat? Oh, yeah. I'm going to do brakes, drum brakes from scratch made. That means no additives, no preservatives. So I'm going to show you number one. We're going to change a flex hose on Mr. Green Jeans. Again, he's showing a little skin today. You might want to cover up. It's cold out. So we're going to change the flex hose, and I'm going to install drum brakes on the passenger side of Mr. Green Jeans from scratch. So you're going to see exactly how I do it, what tools I use, how I go after putting the drum brakes on, all the bits and pieces. I have no idea where they go. It's a puzzle. It's a mystery. But I have instructions. Oh, that's a grocery list. Sorry. That's mine. So stick around. Glad to have you with us. We got a lot coming your way. The action's going to be crazy good, over the top. So if this is your first visit with us, I always like to say, you'll never be the same, and you might want to set up some treatment for, after the show. All right, so let's get started. Number one. Wasn't a grocery list, it's the instructions. I'm a man, and I don't need this. Just a minute. It's coming to me now. No, it's not working. What I want to tell you is something that was shared to me many years ago as an apprentice, as I was, still in my Jedi warrior phase, and earning my first year as an apprentice. Read everything that comes in the boxes and bags and persona with your parts. Don't just pull it out of the box, guys, and go, I know that. I found this instruction very unique, but spot on. With regards to the flex line, it says here, failure to follow these instructions may result in brake failure. Don't think I want to go down that road. How about you? So listen up. Prior to installation, the brake hose is removed from the box, placed in a straight position at room temperature, 15 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius, or in my language, 59 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. After a minimum of 30 minutes, manually flex the hose to remove any hose curvature. This practice will relieve any deformation of the brake hose caused by the packaging or storage. Inspect the hose cover, the black cover, for cracks. If none exist, install the hose on the vehicle, and after installation, check your hose routing for proper clearances. A lot of information on there. So I took these out of the box 2 days ago, and they were kinked pretty good. They were bent right over like so. So we've almost got them pretty much straight. And what I like to see is that if I hold it like this, it will straighten out, because when it's installed in there, it's going to look similar to that. So let's get started. Flex hose. You ready? I think I heard somebody say, I'm ready, motor mouth, I'm ready. All right, we're going in. Cover me, I'm going in. So we're going to undo this line. Boy, that was easy. Yeah. So make sure, you know what, I'm going to put a plug in for Snap-on. They make the best line wrenches. And the reason I say that is they don't spread when you go to put them on a nut, and you got to give them a good pounding. These jaws don't spread open and round off the nut. So I only use the Snap-on line wrenches. I really like them. I've had them for a long time. And that was my boss at the time many years ago, back before they had airplanes and everything and cars. We had the line wrench. So there we go. We got that loose. Right now, I always put a tray there. If you ever get your hands on these old pizza trays, if a bakery in your area goes down, for whatever reason, grab a handful. They are amazing in the shop. Amazing. So make sure that the nut is moving freely on the brake line. And if it isn't, you're going to have to apply a little bit of heat. And what I recommend is just either try tapping on the nut with a hammer and put something solid behind it and just tap on the nut side. Or I just apply a little bit of heat on this and then I cool it with some cold water instantly. That's called quenching. So I'll do that 2-3 times, and then 9 times out of 10 it comes back. Because generally what happens is that it locks up in here on the line itself. Sometimes the threads get stuck, but not very often. Does anybody have a shop towel around here? I'm going to get one. Hey, thank you. Hey, thanks, Skippy. You're amazing. All right, let's do the other side now. And that happens to be a 5/8. So you can use, again, another line wrench. This hose is so much thicker. So I'm just going to come down here, down to the end, and we're going to loosen that off. These are really big. The 1967, man, everything is big. Nothing wimpy, that's for sure. Then get your 5/8 wrench in there. Okay, so now what you got to do, that's nice and free on the back of the wheel cylinder. That's brand new wheel cylinder in here already. I did that before. Okay, we need the caniper here. The caniper, and we're going to remove the pickle fork. Let's grab that and pull that out. So you may want to make sure that you have some of these in the shop. I mean, this has been on this truck since 1967. Look at it. It's pretty decent, but they tend to break down in here. So I just, you know what, I'm going to change it up and put a new one in. So they're cheap, and you can buy them in a package of 4. Just replace it, because they can end up, if this breaks off, it's going to release this line like that. So what's going to happen is your line is attached here. Just watch. I'll just humor me for a minute. I want to give you a visual. Okay, so I always start my threaded fittings by hand, because you don't want to strip them, because that turns into a really bad scenario. You strip the nut or strip the hose in the end. So if that clip breaks off and the wheels are turning back and forth, see what happens? It's going to come out of the bracket, and you don't know that, and it's going to start rubbing till it breaks this line. It can trap that line, the steel line, and snap it right off. You go to hit the brake pedal, next time it goes right to the floor. Nothing. Yeah, you don't even have time to go because it's too late. So that's why I say the pickle forks, they're cheap. You can get them in a package of 4. Just get them. Just get them. Don't try and, there's things you can cheap out on, and then there's other things, you know what? This is safety. And, you know, if you can't stop it or steer it, nothing else matters. You can put the stereo up louder if it's got a really good one. But you know what? It's not going to be any fun. And this hose is so old. Again, this is 1967. This line is original. And it is stiff. And this one hasn't ruptured yet, but the driver's side has. Oh, yes, it has. Look. Right there. See that? And see how it's braided in there? You got a rubber hose, then it's braided, then this casing holds the whole thing and squeezes it so that when you press the brake pedal, you got hundreds of PSI going through here. You've got hydraulic pressure. Yeah, you know, like kind of the pressure your boss might give you. Almost the same thing. Maybe his casing is split. Who knows? But that would be the spot where you have a panic brake situation. Buddy pulled out of the drive-through, and you spilt your coffee all over your floor and your shifter, and you hit the brakes and it blows out right here. You have 0 brakes in seconds, and that pedal's going to go right to the floor, and you're probably going to meet somebody by accident, and then they're going to be upset, and it gets ugly. Just don't go there. If the flex hose has cracks in it, gone. It's over. And even if in this case, 1967, that's the original hose. Even if that wasn't split, you know what? I just feel better knowing I have a brand new hose on there that's not going to give me any problems. So what I do here is I like to put a little Wiener slide, that's a technical term, little sill glide on here, just on those threads. And I already did the inside of this one. I just put some inside the threads. Don't gob it in there. You know, guys, a little bit is good, a whole lot is better. No, just enough. Not too much, not too little. Just like feeding your fish. Just give them a little. Not too much, not too little. Okay, we're going to get this threaded in over here. So I like to do this end first. And again, by hand. Don't put any wrenches on until you feel this thing is started. Now I will turn it in as far as I possibly can by hand. So you don't want to attach this just yet. You want to get this tight. So you can use the line wrench or an open end box wrench because you can get right on it. These are huge fittings, 1967. Monstrous fittings. Almost like Frankenstein type stuff. So now I'm going to put that in there and I'm going to get my line. I'm not going to clamp this yet till I know I have my steel line drawing into it. Okay, and it is. It is drawing into the fitting. Whoa! No, we're okay up here. All right, we need a 5/8 just to hold this steady. And I'm just going to lightly snug this up, and then I'll give it some more beef after I got it pegged down. So just take your time. That's the biggest thing is, you know what? Take your time and do the job right. That's all. You don't have to be super fast at it, and you don't have to kill this fitting either. It's not an engine mount or something. It's not holding up the rest of the car. Then get your pickle fork, your new one, in there. I always like to make sure I can see my fitting in the bracket. So, because sometimes you have to clock it a little bit. And if that's the case, what I do is I back this off. So I back that off. And I just need to adjust the clock position of this to get my pickle fork in. So you want to make sure that you can get your fitting on the hose into the properly sunk into the bracket. There we go. Now we're in. Now I have my groove is exposed. It's a little bit groovy, but not groovy, if you know what I mean. So I am going to make a small adjustment here. Just excuse me for a moment, and I will get a tool out of my box. I'm going to make an adjustment on that bracket because I think it's kind of moved a little bit. So I'm going to go on here. I'm just going to adjust that bracket a little bit and grab it up here and just adjust that a little bit so that this, you got to make sure that seats into that bracket. Did you hear that? That's the hallelujah chorus right there. Because if you don't, it's not going to work out. And if you've done it well, you'll see this. See that clip is nicely leveled in there? And then I check the back as well. Make sure that the pickle fork went underneath the cutout in the fitting. On this side, it's round. It's not hexagonal, it's round. And so when it comes through, it has a groove. It's groovy, baby, yeah. So you want to make sure that pickle fork gets right into both grooves. And when you tap it in, if you got to lay a whooping on this thing, then you don't have it lined up right. So it looks like an easy job, but it really isn't. After you've done them So many times you learn the little techniques, adjust the bracket a little bit and then you're on your way. Then I just give it one more love tap. Yes. And then we're good. And so now we just, you probably thought I forgot to tighten the line. Nope. And again, take your time and make sure you got the right tools. And you don't need to lean on this thing, this fitting, like it's holding up the engine. You just snug it up. Bring it in and a little bit more. That's it. You don't have to, I see guys leaning on them and going, why? All right, next phase. We're done with that here. So just, I'm a tool wiper. I can't help it. It's just in me. It's just easier at the end of the day. I can put all my tools away. They're cleaned and back in my little, I call that my Alice container. Alice the cleaner lady from Brady Bunch. That's right. I met an Alice this week at the butcher shop. First Alice I met since like grade school. I said, what's your name? Alice. Alice. Like Alice from Brady Bunch? She didn't know what I was talking about. She's way too young. All right, we're going to get into this now. I was going to just install this all last night in the shop, and I was prepping the engine for the TJ that's behind us here. You'll see that in a minute. But I thought, what better way to show you and teach you a little bit is to let you watch me install a set of drum brakes. And I think these are probably the easiest ones on the front of this 67 Chev because there's no emergency brake components to it. It's just brake shoes and springs that I have no idea where they go, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. All right, first things first, we're going to take some more Wiener Slide. And I like to put some underneath the heads of these because they rot off. That's what happens. So put a little blob underneath. And we're just going to set that one right there like that. And okay, where's the other one? Oh, here it is. If that had teeth, it would have bit me. So we're just going to put a little blob under there. Same thing. I just drive it in there under that because they're kind of wedge shaped. And I'm going to place, why are they different colors, you might be saying? Because they are. No, because here's what happened. They gave us these in the kit. See that? Can you see that? They're too long. So I had to go to my brake parts cabinet where I have odds and sods and bits and dribs and drabs to get the shorter ones. Because this won't work. And we got two beautiful matching ones. Very nice. Nice. No good. No good for us. Absolutely not. We need the 2-inch, not the 2 1/4. Because why? Well, if you watch the other video, somewhere over here, I don't know. They just decide. What determines the length of the pins is the width of the shoes. Aren't they lovely? Does it go with my man bag? Not really. And no, I'm not wearing the leotards. And I don't know how Robin put up with that. I'd be like, no, I'm not wearing the wimpy little cape. And no, I didn't lay an egg. And I did not. I'd be saying that. I did not lay an egg. And I'm not wearing the leotards. So leave me alone, Batman. Yeah, how come your cape's bigger than mine? Something wrong with that whole thing. All right, so let's start putting this together. All right, I start with the bow tie. And again, whatever way you do your stuff, it's okay with me. I do it this way. What matters is, at the end of the day, if we're putting a wheel on the truck, that we get the wheel on the truck and all the wheel nuts tightened and torqued to manufacturer specifications. That's all that matters. All right, here we go. We put the little bow tire up there. Just thought I'd throw that in there because you know what? There are people that are like, well, why? I don't do it. Oh, I want to pinch him because I'm doing what? The way I do it. So you do it your way. That's all I got to say about that. There are those people. I hang around with some of those. They're a bit odd. But then again, so am I. All right, here we go. I lay my bits and pieces down. Do you have any idea where these go? Anybody? Okay. Now remember, which shoe is which? B, big, back. That's how you remember. Primary shoe. That's the biggest shoe. It's a really big shoe. Top to bottom is the back shoe. That's the primary. It does most of the braking. Now look at this. Shortchanged. Imagine that. You have one foot that long and one this long. That's kind of awkward. Two different shoes. Two different sizes. But this one is short. Secondary shoe. You do not do this, and I see it a lot. Short shoe, secondary shoe is on the back. Primary shoe is on the front. No, no, and no. Whether you're doing front drum brakes or rear drum brakes, and we still have drum brakes on vehicles today, the big shoe always faces the back. Primary. Yeah. You know, like, not like primary like kindergarten kind of primary, but primary. All right, so I know something that you don't know, which is which direction does the star wheel face? Well, before you get started taking anything apart, you know what's great about today's technology is you can take a picture with your phone and you take a picture of one side, the side you're working on, before you take it apart, and then you don't have to go, well, was the star wheel facing the front or the back? Because one faces one direction and the opposite side faces the other direction. Just saying. So on this one, the star wheel is going to go forward. Why? Because they adjust opposite each other so that the brakes work right. Okay, so I put that in there like that. Then the rest of the stuff I just throw in the box and whatever, later. This spring has a special little curly in it. See it? A little wave. So that is a giveaway for me because that has to go over the star wheel. So this star wheel faces, help me out here, it doesn't face that way, it faces this way. How do I know? Because this spring wave goes around the star wheel. So this goes in here crazy like this. It was tricky getting it off, that's all I'm going to say. So is there a right way and wrong way? Yes, it's going to go like that because the star wheel is going to sit in here. If you put this on backwards like this, the star wheel is going to grab the spring. So this hook goes this way, that hook goes that way. So through there, into there, over here, and this is how I do it. I bring that together like that and hook that in. And the reason I do that is, are you ready for it? Here's where it gets really cool. Okay, we need some caps. Where are you? We need the caps. Cap for each spring. So we have two different springs. This is what I call the boing spring because it's pointed on the end. This one is flat on both ends. Yeah, some people say flat like your butt, motor mouth. And I go, yeah, thanks, I love you too. You know, call me when you're going to say something really nice. It's good to have friends like that. Okay, you don't want to forget this. Because this is the thing that makes the things all come together. That's just the way it is. So, do I have this correct? Well, let's take another look at it. Well, I'm afraid to tell you, but this tells the big story here. I did this on purpose. See this hook? This hook is going to go into your emergency brake thingy. Okay, so you got to remember, which way is that going to go? Is it going this way? Or is it going this way? Or is it going this way? See what I'm saying? See how fast you can get things canoodled? Well, you could put it on this way. I don't know how well that's going to work out for you, but I'm going to help you out. It goes this way. Because this is your adjuster, and it's going in here, and guess where it lands? The toe and foot of the brake shoe adjuster needs to land on that star wheel. Well, if I put that over that way, that ain't working, no matter what. So again, you can do this. You just have to take a picture before you get started. And I cleaned all the brake pieces. This is amazing. Look at how good this stuff is. 1967. Crazy. So I acid bathed them and cleaned them off with the wire wheel and gave them a nice little paint job. These will be good for another 100 years. So no, this is going to go that direction. So let's get him there. And now we're going to bring the shoes around. And I set the bottom together because it will hold things for me while I build this. See that? Huh? Huh? What do you think of that? It's amazing! Now, I'm doing this really slow because I can do these in 3 minutes. Only because I've had a lot of practice and I had a really good boss that really tested me till I could do this. He would take it all apart and not even let me see it and put it all in a box, and then he'd say, I'd be back in 20, 30 minutes and you have it together. And he would come and he would look and he'd do this, and then he'd say, I'll be back in 10 minutes. Tell me what you did wrong. He would show you something once. And so he was a very good teacher. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't be where I am today without a teacher that was that hard on me. I needed it. So you're going to put that pin through there like that. Then we're going to take this little feller here, the boing, oing, 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 spring. And we're going to need a cap. And sometimes you can get lucky and pop those in there. Like that, see? Nice. That's nice, nice. You take this funny little looking feller here. You can still get these. These are excellent. If you can get your hand, there's 2 sizes. This is the big one. There's a smaller one. So what I do is I hope for the best, and I stand back in case it releases and gets me in the eye. I hold it like that. I get my cap, squeeze her in there, and I got to squeeze and turn. How about them apples? So now you're building your brakes. So now we're going to get the other side in, and then we're going to apply springs. So this one is going to go on here. And again, sometimes you can get them to pop in and kind of stay there for you. We're going to get that ready because now we got a few other components that we need to get in there. So I just be gentle with it. This needs to just kind of move a little bit. Okay, we'll wait. It'll pull in when you get your springs on. When you get your first spring on, it will all happen. So here, put a little bit of Wiener slide on there, just under here, because you want this to slide. on the top and against the shoe. So you don't have to go nuts. Just a little dab will do you. Again, guys, a little bit is good. Don't cake them because the dust from the brake shoes will gather and cause a problem that starts to, the dust will pile around there and it will slow the movement down. So we don't want to do that. So here's how this one works. The barrel, see this bottom? It's going to go through there. We're going to bring our pin through the shoe right here on 3. Everybody say boink. And there it is. So then we get our barrel in the hole. Hold it with your thumb. Slip it in there. Get it in the shoe. It sounds clunky, doesn't it? That's okay. Skippy will get that for us because Skippy loves me. I'm going to pull this off. I like to put a washer under there, so I'll take care of that in a minute. And we'll just fix that up. And in a minute, just hold that. Don't get rammy. And then get this one. This one's going to be a little bit of work. So you just got to kind of line that. You got to find it, line it, and get it. Get it in there. We don't have enough sticking out, so we just got to make an adjustment here and get this into the right position. We're just not quite where we need to be. So we're up against there. We're good. We're good. Because this one has a lot of pressure on that little spring. So I got to get this in here. Push it all the way down, try and grab that hook in there, line it up. It all depends on how you hold your tongue on this one. That's attempt number 2. That's okay. Let's going to see if we can reposition just a little bit. Not that much reposition, but see if we can get over a little bit. There we go. Just a little adjustment. Be steady, don't get rammy. You'll get it. Keep your finger on the back of that pin. Get this up there. And again, hold your tongue in the right position and poke and get ready to turn it. And we got it. Can we get a golf clap on that one, do you think? Thank you. Thank you. All right, I got to get that piece. So bear with me, my friends. It went halfway to freaking Bulgaria, but you know what? I got a tool for that. Well, you have to have one of these. This is called the fetch me thing. Because you know when you drop stuff and you just can't reach it? Even if you think last chocolate chip cookie. That's the last chocolate chip cookie. I can get it. I can reach it. I can get it. You'll get it every time. There, we got that. So that's called my catch me thing. So again, make sure this is up there. Keep that behaving. Stay. We're going to take this off. I like to put a washer under there. It's just one of my things. So I'm going to take that off. Hang on to it, because I'll tell you what, when it takes off, you'll catch that speeding. Here we go. Turn. Okay. I'm better with my right hand on this one. Let's hold it like this. Let's go in. There we go. Tell you gotta hang on to it because it'll take off. I like to put a little washer under this one. I don't like the boing side not sitting on a washer. Now you can choose not to, but I like it. I like it a lot. You ever wonder what Forrest Gump is doing today? Is he still finding the box of chocolates? I don't know. Is he eating them all? Is he sharing? I don't know. I don't know. You see what I mean? That nearly took my eye out. All right. This is where it gets ugly. You gotta have your fetcher-upper thingy. Because I know it went under here somewhere. I know it went under here somewheres. I don't know. Nothing. It's hide and seek now. I don't know where it went. Skippy, help me out, buddy. That's what can happen. It will just take off on you. Does anybody really know where that went? I don't know. I have no idea. None. Zero. I don't know. Well, we might have to put an ABB out on the spring and the cap. Because I'll tell you, when they fly, they fly. Let me get flashlight here. I know it's close by here, but that's how fast it can take off on you. And you know what? I really don't know. I don't see it. I don't know where it went. I know it kind of went down near the toolbox, but I'll tell you, I've had to hunt for stuff before. But when they take off, they take off. I don't know. We might have to stop here and call somebody, a friend. Yeah, we might have to call a friend. Okay. We'll just take a little break. And we'll be back after I find the missing spring. It's here somewhere. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment. Found it! Yippee! I told you, you gotta hang on to it, because it'll take off on you. That's why I also call it the boing, 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 boing spring, because that's what it does. It takes off, but you know, and we have the washer. We got the washer. Holy smokes. I just want to know, I found it. What did I win? Anything? You win the opportunity to capture that spring one more time. Well, we're going to do that. So you know what? If that happens to you, now you know where you think that spring is. It probably isn't. Where it should be, it's probably not. So hang on to it. I'm going to do a little different method here to try and get this baby where I want it. And what I do want is I want these shoes. Now make sure you also lube. There we go. That's going to help us a lot. Make sure you lube the backing plate. So there's 3 points here, in the middle, and down at the bottom. And use a little bit of Wiener Schlide. Just a little bit on your finger and just stroke those positions there, and you know what? It's all going to be good, and you won't have squeaky brakes when you're done, because that's what generally tends to happen. It squeaks. Okay, let's see if we can do this. He's going in. See, that's what I call this one the boing spring, because it is a little bit tricky because of the shape of that spring. So if you can get that shoe up and get that pin aimed like that, then get that baby on there and trap it. You too will have success. Where are you, little varmint? Can we get a golf clap, everybody? We got it. That can happen. You see how fast that happened? See, we could have, in an emergency, you could use one of the old ones. Notice how much smaller that is. That would have been no fuss, no muss. That is a much tighter spring. This is the factory one. And I think a little bit of it is broken off, so it's technically broken right here. If you feel that, it's over. And here's the original pickle fork. It's not in bad shape. If you had to, you could get by, but they're cheap enough. Just make sure you replace it. All right, let's get into the big springs now. Here's where it really gets hairy. All right. Yep. This is where it turns into a bit of a hairy monkey. So I usually try and pull that one over. Hear that? And now I'm anchored. I'll just show you. See that? I'm anchored here. It's coming in for landing. So make sure that's on there. There's a shoulder that goes on, and this is going to go this way. And this has to go around this. Watch this. So bring that forward, pull that over. And what I do is I generally do this. This will help you. Go this way. Don't try and go that way. You'll fight with it forever and a day. So push that back on. Get your thumb right there. Get this handy dandy tool. I love this tool. It is a brake tool. I don't use pliers. And you can just hook this right on there and watch what happens. Just feed that right down onto that pin like no tomorrow. See that? It's a brake tool. This is a Mac tool. See if you can get that number on there for them. Because you'll see what else this tool can do in a minute. And so between these three tools, there's your brake job. Drum brakes especially. Here's your brake job. Okay, so now what do we got up next? Okay, get this little feller in there before you do anything else. And I just slip that under there. That's what I do if you can. Sometimes you can't. So you know what you do? You use this end. Just take that off for a minute. Just take it off for a minute. I'm showing you some of the things that you're going to run into. And you're going to get a little frustrated, but that's okay. Make sure this spring goes down under there into that position. Now you've got this locked in. Now it's going to do you a big favor and hold itself for you while you hold this, and you're going to pop that on. So I'm goofing a bunch of this up for you because you're probably going to run into some of these things, including the boing, 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 boing. It can get a little frustrating, but don't let it get you. Just like I just did, start again. You missed the spring there and you got that on. Now you find you can't get the spring in. Take it back off, lift the adjuster up, get your little spring in there. Don't panic. That's the thing. Don't panic. You don't have to. So where's this one going to go? I don't know. Why don't we try here? See, that's a really big spring, right? It's not going to go there. So this is where taking a picture before you start. That one's going to go there or there. So here's what I do. In here, it's got a curly tail on it. Get it started, get it in, and get ready. Just like that. That's why you need one of these. Then the next spring has a tail, and it's not going to go there. It really can't. So it has to be that hole there. Then we're going to grab that. We're going to come up here. Just like that. No fuss, no muss. Then what I do is I grab this and I bend it down. So that spring cannot jump off of there. This one is good. Sometimes I'll just see if I can put a little bit of a bend on there so it doesn't jump out. I just squash it a bit. There we go. That is for our adjuster hole, so we can just leave that there. So now, no squeaky squeaky. The adjuster's working beautiful. So now what do? Well, now we're going to put a little bit of grease around here on the said metered apparatus thingy, stick thing, spindle. It's the correct term. So we're going to go get some grease, hang in there, and I'm going to come back with the brake drum. The brake drum has the bearing in, the hub's all greased, bearings are all greased. So I'm going to come back with those goodies, and we're going to use our go, no-go gauge and put an initial adjustment on these brakes, but we got these in position. They're anchored at the top, anchored at the bottom. Make sure that your ears from your adjuster are into the shoe, so it looks like this. In like that, okay? Or in like that. Make sure the ears are into the shoes, and just give them a couple of tweaks like this, and we're good. All right, I'm gonna get the stuff, and I'll be right back. All right. So we need a little bit of bearing grease. This is our outside cap, bearing, washer, castle nut, all cleaned, ready to go. This is stuff you can learn how to time yourself and do some of the things that need to get done ahead of time. So this is my wheel bearing grease. I always keep a paintbrush in here. And this way I can work a little bit faster. You don't have to cake this up. I just don't like the bearings going on there dry, and I like to have a little grease around where the grease seal is going to sit right back in there. I'll show you with my finger in a minute. So that's all I need on there to be happy, and I don't need any more grease. Everything else is greased well. So I just take a little bit of grease and I go right around here. That's where the grease seal is going to sit, and that's where I don't want the seal to go onto a dry surface, because that's when it's going to turn on there, and I don't want it to turn on a dry spindle housing, because you can nick the seal or burn the seal a little bit, and then it's not going to seal, which is the problem. Okay, next we get the brake drum. It's ready to go. The seal's in, bearings in. We showed you that in another segment, so you want to make sure that you watch the other segment that I put together, prepping the hub, greasing the bearings by hand, putting the seal in, pressing that in, making sure that there's enough grease inside the hub here as well, and there's plenty in there. Again, guys, you can over grease. You don't have to fill this thing up till you can't see through to the other side. You just don't. There's enough grease in there in that hub. I just like to make sure that it's hollow here, that I have enough grease that when I put my finger inside, it's right there, ready to launch. Okay, so this is ready to go, but we want to put, I like to put a little bit of adjustment on the shoes before I put the drums on. And then once we have then bled the brakes, because I've done the rears already, rear brakes are done, emergency brakes, wheel cylinders, spring kits, the whole 9 yards back there is done. It's all new. The drums have been machined, and we can machine them on this particular vehicle that's aged. There's lots of meat on the drums to machine them out, so you can see inside right here. It's all nicely machined, nice and flat. So I know that the shoes will sit right. Now this is my gauge. I call it a go no go gauge, and you can use this tool to measure your drums. It has your increments here, and on the bottom, if you love the metric system, the bottom is for you, the top is for me. I prefer inches. So inside calipers, outside calipers. So we can measure the drum in the middle. You just so the points are touching, snug this up, flip it over, and we are pretty darn close. So we can put a little bit more adjustment on there. Now, Now! We're gonna do it now! Right now. So, hear that clicking? That's the pawl. When you're adjusting it by hand or with the tool, here's the adjuster tool. Gives you 2 angles. I'll show you how we use that. And we're going to put just some preliminary adjustment on the shoes. I'm not going all the way tight because I'll argue getting the drum on. So we just take her up some more. I use a cloth because the teeth on that thing are, I'm a delicate thing, you know. All right, so let's get that going, see what we got. Go a tiny bit more, and then we'll finish off the rest once the drum's on. I just like to hear a little chuffing on the shoes. You don't want them major drag on them. That's too much. It's too much. Just a hair bit more. Are you still here? Are you sticking with me? Good. Because I'm going to take it all off and then it's your turn next time. How's that sound? You loving me now? I'll do what my boss did. Pull it all off, throw it in a box, tell you he'll be back in 20 minutes. God bless him. He was good to me. I needed a tough teacher, and he knew it. He knew it. And I remember he said to me one day, he got my goat, let me tell you. He stands there and he says, puts his hands behind his back and he goes, you want to hit me, don't you? And I looked at him and I went, yeah. He goes, okay, here's how we play. I will let you hit me first, but then I get the second one. And he was a pretty stocky Italian gentleman. He was hard. He was short and stocky, but he was built. And I'm thinking, hey, Motormouth, could I survive that second one? I think they might catch me in China for speeding if he hits me. So I just said, I'm okay. He goes, all right then. But you let me know if that changes. But that's how we play. He was a military instructor, just to let you know. All right, I like it where it is. And if you just want to see that one more time, drop that in there just till you hear it scrape lightly, not gouge, just a light scraping. You've got your measurement, flip it over, and it's pretty darn close. I got a little bit of leeway, which means I'm going to be able to get my drum on and not argue with it. Because we have a port right here to finalize adjustment. Let me see if we can do this. Hello, how you doing? That's the adjuster hole. So we don't need to panic, babies. We don't want to argue to get the drum on. And if it's a little tight, then just pull it off and back it off a little bit. We'll see how we look. Beautiful. So we're going to add the bearing. Not quite caramel I was hoping for. I thought that was caramel. I don't recommend it. Tastes bad. So make sure you put your washer on. See the tab? Into the groovy here. So everything is groovy when you're working on brakes. Into the groove. I push it in with my thumbs to hold it there and seat it. We get our castle nut on there. Now I did tell you I can do these in 3 minutes aside, and I can. But for you, I wanted you to see some of the things that you're going to get into, like the boing, spring flies across the shop. It happens, and it happens quickly. And don't get frustrated. Just hang in there. You can do it. The best thing is to have your little containers. These are just, I saved the mushroom containers. You know, first you have the steak and you saute some mushrooms and then you clean the container and you have a little work container. And these ones too. This is if you go for the smaller amount of mushrooms. But these things work fantastic. You can wipe them out and reuse them. Environmentally friendly. We try to be that here in the Car Connection Workshop. Environmentally friendly. So they just work fabulous. You can doing a job, you can set them out and put the bolts from the water pump and the power steering. Use your imagination. Work clean and work in a clean environment. And that's what my instructor taught me. If he saw you working in crud, he would pull you away, hand you the broom and say, clean up, then start again. Work clean. It is very important. It's like my dentist always says, Dr. Dinger. He says, Motormouth, just make sure you floss the teeth that you want to keep. And it took a couple days, but I got it. I'm like, oh, you're a funny guy. I get it. Yeah. Just floss the ones you want to keep. Jeepers. Okay, we need the water pump pliers next. Right here. Water pump pliers. We're going to need a cotter pin. And again, if you're doing a lot of work, this is a kit you got to get your hands on. No, they don't sponsor the show, but it shows you all the cotter pins. Gives you the sizes in SAE, which I like. So we're going to use this particular one, which would be this one right here. See that? So this has every cotter pin you'll need, even for carburetor work, linkage work. You don't have to go hunting. You don't have to buy a box full. And it wasn't that expensive. So we only need one out of there. This is going to be our guy. So now we're going to set the bearing preload. Yeah, it's a little tight. I might just kick that back a little bit if I can. Let's see if I got a light. You know, you ever notice you change the batteries in something and then you go, like it's already dying. What's the matter with that? I bought the good stuff at the dollar store. What do you want from me? So you just, here, I'm going to teach you a little trick right now. You're going to love this. Okay, so you put the brakes. I told you don't go too far. You went too far, which most will do. So here's what I do. See this handy dandy little thing? You go, what the heck is that? It's a piece of coat hanger. So what we got to do to turn that back is get the star wheel lined up in the middle of the hole. So it's right there. But we have that lever in there that's going to be a nightmare because it's pushing down on the adjuster. So what do? Well, I'll tell you here in a second. I'll tell you in a minute when I get it all figured out, all right? So you might want to use a cloth because this is kind of, it's tough on the hands. You can use a screwdriver. I'm just pushing that lever away from the star wheel and I'm going to back it up. I'm backing up the bus, baby. Just push that lever over and it'll go. I want a little bit more yet, so just get right in there. This is where you need your third arm, but you're not going to get it, so I've ordered it over and over again. So you just push that lever back. It's just back a little bit. You don't have to shove it off. Turn this up. A couple turns, and everybody will be happy. Perfect. Do you hear that light drag? That's good for now because once we hit the brake pedal and we got it all bled out, the system bled, the shoes are going to do this in the drum and you'll end up having to reset the brake shoes. You'll have to adjust them again. So this is just the preliminary. You will be back in there adjusting again from the front. So you have to take the wheels off. So I'm just bringing this down gentle. That's gentle. I'm not leaning on it. I'm just kind of there. So then I'm going to rotate This is going to loosen right off after the first brake application, I can tell you that. So then what I do is I just bring this back about a half a turn, and I just come down, just like that. That's all there is to it. So now, if you can't get your cotter pin through the hole, which it looks like we're going to be all right here, I think, I just take my pliers and just wiggle it a little bit till I can get through there. Did you see that? I just wiggle it, and I put my cotter pin in just like that, into the head, into the groove. Again, we're groovy, and then I grab the one end. Actually, what I like to do is turn it around. I'll tell you why. See how one end is longer than the other? Put the long end facing outward. You'll see in a minute. Makes it so much easier. So tap that in there, just like that. Bring it down. This is a hammer right at the moment. Actually, I prefer a hammer. Marteau, and just tap that in. Just make sure that's all the way down in there. Don't kill it. It's in. Then it makes, if you put the long side out, it makes it easier for you to bring it up and over. And just like that. And just bend that tab right over like that. And you might do it a different way, but you know what? If I did the brake job and I pulled the wheels off and I look 20 years from now, I can tell you I did that job because that's my signature, a J. It comes through and it makes a J. And then the ear is just hanging through there. I did that job, and I can tell you that. And my instructor, my military instructor for automotive said, do it like that anytime you're putting a cotter pin in. Do it just like that. Make the J. Okay, now we're going to put the dust cap on, and are we going to use this? No and no. That's why this thing is lumpy, and I pounded most of the lumps out of it. You do not need to crush these things or bang a screwdriver in here to get it off. No, you don't. Put that on there like that. And watch how hard this is. Rubber mallet. Did I crush it in? Did I kink it in? No, I didn't. But what I do tend to do is I just want to make sure the edge is down, so I just check it. Don't pound too hard on it, just check it. You're just checking to make sure you're all the way down. That's it. I didn't crush it in. I didn't deform it. I didn't kink the side in. I didn't mash the end of it in. That's how you do it. That's how you do it right. That's how you do it well. Every single time. If I can do this, you can do this. If you were here with me, I'd be patient with you and let you put it together, but I would let you stare at it. Then I would take it all apart and throw it in a box. And then walk away. I might giggle. And then again, I might not. So now we got a good adjustment there. That's going to settle out when we bleed the brakes. And now we'll be able to put pressure in the lines. The shoes are going to come out 2-3 times. Then we're going to finalize our adjustment. Then we're ready to put the wheels on. But again, you have, usually in the hold down kits, you'll get two options to close the port. The metal, some guys like the metal ones. I really like the grommet. I'm in love with the grommet. I think it's hot. But this, see what happens when it goes in. It's metal, and it just doesn't seal right in here. There's gaps. Even if you push this all the way down, there's still gaps. I'll show you. Let me get my screwdriver so I can get it back out. You push that in, there's still gaps. So I prefer the grommet. You see what you think. And that goes in that hole, in that groovy. It's groovy again. Just take your screwdriver, just push that in. Look at that, it's sealed. The water's not gonna get in there. Road crud's not gonna get in there. So I hope you learned and got some takeaways from this and the tools. I think we took a good picture of all the tools laid out so you can see what I use and all the products in that. Cardboard is your friend because you can clean up real quick, just like this, and it makes cleanup a snap. If you can get your hands on some of these old pizza trays, some of the, like AmVets and Goodwill stores, great place to find that stuff for literally a couple of bucks. They are a huge blessing. So that's it. We got the brake line in there. The flex line is in there. It's nice and straight. It's the way it should be. We're going to turn the wheel, watch the flex line. Wow, that's kind of psychedelic with that stripe on there. So the next thing we do is we'll bleed the brakes, and I have a method for doing that and a tool which is absolutely amazing because you can bleed the brakes on pretty much any vehicle by yourself. But it's a whole lot more fun if somebody else is there because then you can, make fun of them and stuff. And it just makes your day go a little quicker. So thanks for hanging out with me. We did a brake job together and you experienced some of the stuff that can happen. This spring goes that way. This one's going this way. Where did that go? Make sure you take a picture of everything before you take it apart and do one side at a time. And the reason I say that is because you can go to the other side if you have to and look and cheat from the other side and you'll see how it's put together. And that's how I learned. I had good teachers learning good tips and tricks, and you too can do a really good drum brake job in your own backyard as well. So till next time, thanks for hanging out with us. What else have I got to say? Is this where I sing the song? No, maybe next time. So, peace, patience, and most of all, friends, be kind. Be kind. Keep it under 100 and put the coffee on because coming to your house.